Back, it's time now to know what's on the front pages of Nigerian newspapers. Joining me to review the papers today is a journalist, Ife Oyebule. Thank you very much for joining us at this point.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's look at the newspapers this morning. We'll start off with the Daily Times. Hope rises for public varsities reopening. That's in the Daily Times this morning. Hope rises for public varsities reopening. The national economy says vehicle owners to pay 250,000 naira to convert cars to auto gas. Vehicle owners to pay 250,000 naira to convert cars to auto gas. That's according to the national economy. The Blueprint newspaper says here, JNI cries out, nowhere is safe in Nigeria. That's according to the Blueprint newspaper. Nowhere is safe in Nigeria, says bandits kill on the farms, hunger kills at home. Once Nigerians might resort to self-help. Business Day says what CBN special bills mean for banks' economy. That's in Business Day. We'll move to the Daily Trust this morning now. It says business owners groan over Naira crash. Buying dollar about 450 Naira not sustainable, says importers. CBN blames bribe givers for forex hike. Monitor BDCs to tame racketeering, as according to experts. The Nigerian News Direct says state of insecurity, Buhari to address House of Reps. We'll move to the Leadership newspaper where it says the insecurity, President Muhammadu Buhari honors invitation to address lawmakers. The president is more concerned about security than any other Nigerian, says Badabi Amila. Challenges beyond military, says Governor. Northern women call for national prayer. The Punch says here, a bold header, Boko Haram insurgency. Retired generals, NEF, others warn against hiring mercenaries. Nobody will fight insurgency for us. Mercenaries hired in the past fled, according to the ex-GOC. Calls for mercenaries. A fatal indictment on the military, says Northern leaders. Boko Haram attack sponsored by international community to destabilize Nigeria, says Army. The Daily Sun says, I'll honor Reps summon, says Buhari. Declaration of state of emergency more important than your parents, lawmakers tell president. We must unite to stop Nigeria from collapse, according to Saraki. The Vanguard says here, military overwhelmed by security challenges, says governors. That's in the Vanguard newspaper. The Nation newspaper is also, says here, governors spread a fair spread of insurgency to other regions. Sultan says no place is safe in Nigeria now. Buhari to honor House of Reps invitation. Bandits kill 4 in attack on markets. This Day newspaper says, again, Sultan laments worsening insecurity, says nowhere is safe. Governor says we're frustrated, military overwhelmed. Tinubu right, Zulum says more efforts needed to win anti-terror war. All right, this morning we will stick with 2 newspapers, the Daily Trust and the Punch newspapers. We'll start with the Punch newspaper talking about insecurity, which has been everywhere on the headlines this morning. It says Boko Haram insurgency, retired generals, NEF, others warn against hiring mercenaries. Nobody will fight insurgency for us. Mercenaries hired in the past fled, according to ex-GOC. Calls for mercenaries, a fatal indictment on the military, says Northern elders. Boko Haram attack sponsored by international community to destabilize Nigeria, says Nigeria Army. If you're looking at this now, there has been calls for the employment of mercenaries, according to Governor Zulum. Obviously, he's not happy with the situation, so he's thinking that the army is quite overwhelmed with the situation, and so mercenaries will help the case. But some people are against it.
Well, saying that he's not happy is an understatement. The man is overwhelmed himself. He's kind of caved into what's been happening. And remember, he's been attacked a couple of times. For him to come out to say, this is what it is that we're facing. We need people. I don't know what they mean by mercenaries, but they need to find people who can get the job done. Did you see his mien when he appeared at the burial of those 43 farmers that were slaughtered? You could see a man who had been defeated as it is. This is
who looks defeated.
Yes, this is the worst time Is it looks now? I think that's exactly how he feels. It's beating all over him. And you won't blame the man. He's so overwhelmed with what it is that's happening. You find that the people who are even disturbing them right there in Borno State have more sophisticated weapons.
Yeah.
Now, I'm looking at the third rider that you put there, where the army is saying...
Boko Haram attack sponsored by international community to destabilize Nigeria.
That's laughable. That's laughable, if you ask me. I think the army should sit down, get back to the drawing board, find out exactly what it is that they should be doing now, and how to work together with the mercenaries that the governor is talking about to see how they end insurgency in that state, and of course in the country as it is, because this is terrible that Nigeria is in the news again for the wrong reason. It's very sad. If you're not killing in Kaduna State, look at what's happening in Katsina as it is. And I'm saying this is the president's home state. Is it that these people don't understand what it is that's going on? Now they are taking the game to the president's home state. The idea is, what can you do? We've done it here, we're getting away with it. We've done it here, we're getting away with it. And I'm asking, why is it that it is the average or the poor masses that continue to face this? I don't know how true the report is of the president's spokesman saying that these farmers didn't take what's it called now?
Garba was accused of saying that he didn't take permission from the army to go to the farms.
Do I need to take permission to go to my own farm in my own fatherland or something? I don't get it.
You remember there's a time the army said everyone should get identity cards so they can recognize who is a civilian and who is not.
What's happening to the national ID card? Why should I be getting an ordinary ID card that you go anywhere and get to print? So I'm just saying that we need to get serious with what it is that we're doing as a country.
Well, we're not serious with it.
We've got to stop playing politics.
What kind of politics are we playing?
Get ID cards. Where are they going to get the ID cards
What
from?
kind of politics are we playing in this fight against? More than 43 people have died.
Yes, more than 43 people. And that's why the government needs to wake up and look into what it is that the man has talked about. Find the people who can get the job done. Remember what the U.S. did when they brought in someone from which of the countries now, hiding him somewhere. The U.S. came and they picked the man out and left without casualties as it is. What is wrong in stepping out to ask for help? I don't understand that. So I think that's what they need to do. Find a way to ask for help so that we can get rid of it. So
you're in support of hiring mercenaries to fight this war?
I am. That's the truth.
But remember that the United States came at a point during the Goodluck Jonathan's regime to help fight insurgency. It came to specifically gather information, but they realized there were moles within the Nigerian army.
There will always be moles, for crying out loud. It's also falling back again to the leadership of the Nigerian army. I had the conversation that you were having with Mr. Gbolaoba, where he was talking about the idea that the army needs to be truly sincere. Now, the president is sitting and waiting. People are calling on him. You need to sack this crop of chiefs that you have. But the spokesman has also said, look, the president is comfortable with these people and they will
Is it about the comfortability of the president or the safety of the people?
Issues at stake. So I'm wondering what it is. Is it that the spokesperson of the president just comes out and talks about these things without bouncing it off the president? You cannot come out to say the president will have these people still in office as long as he's comfortable with them. So what I'm trying to say is the president needs to take a look at this. The army needs to sit down, understand what it is, get the people who can get this job done, and do it.
So if you're calling for the president to employ mercenaries to handle this fight against Boko Haram, is that not an indictment on the army as well? To show that the army is incompetent?
They're already. It's clear that they are not able to handle this. Every day, one government official comes out to say to us, oh, we're fighting Boko Haram. We've defeated Boko Haram. We've decapitated them. We've decimated them. All the grammar in this world is what they used to tell us, that they've defeated Boko Haram. But we've looked at it now. Look at what it is. They are right there in your face. One day something happens. They look at you, you're not able to do anything about it. They're more emboldened. They come again and do something else. So I'm thinking, why don't you try it somehow else? If you keep doing something the same way, you're not getting that result that you want. Why not look another way and do it somehow else?
What's the other way? Do we include rejigging the security apparatus?
But that is begging the question, Theo. That's exactly what should happen. They should start to rejig now. They need to reorganize. They need to do what they have to do because people need to
Over the years, we have changed the security architecture, the heads of the security agency, the army, to ensure that we win this war. But so far, this is where we are.
Over the years, how? How long has the man who's there been there?
But
why
this,
are
this,
you
this fight,
bent on keeping him?
government is a continuum.
Yes,
this
it
fight
is.
has been consistent for over a decade, and we have changed men and the security apparatus so far, the heads of security agencies, the army, the police and all of that, to ensure that we win this war, but we haven't done anything so far.
Then I just think that the whole administration needs to be rejigged. That's the truth. It's a painful thing to talk about, and I'm sure some people who are, how do I put it now, who are so in support of what it is that the government is doing, they will say, what is this woman talking about? If you've looked at it, as you've said, that these chiefs have been changed, we've had a different set of people all over the time, then I'm thinking that the whole administration needs to be rejigged. That's the truth, because people can't continue to die like this.
If the whole administration is rejigged, what will it do? What will it help?
New people will come on, fresh hand, fresh ideas, fresh heads, and they will think up a way to get to do this thing. That is the truth. Because if we continue to talk about this, this will continue to happen. I can't remember the last time we saw the papers without reading about people dying, about farmers getting killed, about people being killed because of their land. Remember also a report that was, or a statement that was ascribed to another spokesperson who said, look, it's either you give up your land or we don't know what is going to happen to you. This can't continue to happen. We need to do exactly what it is. Call the governor to a meeting. Maybe the governor knows something that you don't know. Speak with him. Find a way to get around this thing. And I'm hoping that something is done soon.
Okay, so in all of this now, the governors are saying the military is overwhelmed, and it's all, the JNI is saying, that's in the vanguard, JNI is saying that more Nigerians will get arms for self-defense. The government fails to mop up arms.
Get arms. We've not reached that stage, please. We've not reached that stage where Nigerians would have to now get arms, okay? We're not at that stage yet. Recall what happened recently when Okada Rayas were having issues with task force members. And we heard or we read reports that they drew arms. Where did they get those arms from? It's going to get into the wrong hands. And this is not a time to play that kind of game. We are not at that stage yet where ordinary Nigerians can actually acquire arms. It is the job of the army, the police, to actually secure lives and property. That's the truth.
So the president has finally agreed to address the House.
Really? He has agreed.
That's what the speaker
Until
said.
I see him, that's when I'll believe.
Until you see him?
Until I see him.
But even if he's to address the House, what do you think will change? Will he speak the minds of Nigerians, or?
You know, with the president, as Mr. Femi Adesina has said, he has a mind of his own. He has a way that he does his things.
Definitely.
So it is not for us to preempt him. I can't wait to see him stand and address them. Let's understand what it is that he's going to talk about. But let's also remember that it's the same people who write the scripts for him that will put it together. And we're just hoping that they will think about what it is that the ordinary Nigerian is facing so that he's able to talk about it, allay the fears, try to get the trust of the people back. But I know that's not going to be easy because people are truly disappointed.
Yeah. All right, so let's look at the Daily Trust. It says here, business owners groan over Naira crash. Buying dollar above 450 not sustainable, says importers. CBN blames bribe givers for forex hike. Monitor BDCs to tame racketeering, says experts.
Is anybody surprised that business owners are groaning? I'm groaning. Do I run a business? No, I'm a professional as it is. But everyone's groaning. People who used to call you for events and pay you big money, they don't call you anymore. They're calling you and they're saying to you, if you need to think about it, you know what the situation is like. So if it's like that with me and maybe some other persons, I have an idea what it is that business owners are going through. So there's so much on the table, on the plate of the president. And I think he needs to sit down with his economic team and think up a way to cushion the effect of what it is that we get here are facing. What a question.
Dollars increase.
How did we get here? But this is a country where yesterday is always better than today. The 60s was better than the 70s, as my mother told me. The 70s better than the 80s. 80s, 90s, and look at what it is today. Everyone's looking at the good old days. So the question of how did we get here, I think it's the government that should be answering that question. I shouldn't be bugging my head about the job that we voted people in to go do. Sit down with your economic team, think about it, because as it is, you know what poverty can do? When a man is down there, he doesn't care what is going to happen to him. And I think the End SARS protest and the aftermath of that protest should give government, all the people at the helm of affairs, an idea of what can happen when the people have been pushed so hard to the wall. they will definitely bounce back. It's no longer the days of finding a crack in the wall and getting into the wall. They definitely will bounce back because they know they have nothing to fall back on.
Yeah.
And it's either they just confront it or it kills them.
All right, well, we're still sticking to these stories in the Punch and Daily Trust. We'll go on a quick break and return to discuss more. Stay tuned.
Around 8 o'clock like this, and begin to shoot everybody.
When the man they reach there now, we beg them, please, come. They don't help us, but the way they spoil everything. We have reported the matter to the police.
There is always more to a story than the scrimmage headline. The part of a story that is not told casts a shadow. It's like the part of an object that is not reached by light. On TVC News, I'm able to explore the many angles there are to a story, talking to stakeholders, asking the difficult questions, and digging for facts. I believe the viewers are able to make a better decision if they're well informed and understand not just a part, but the complete story. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Every major news story is with many perspectives and layered with different levels of impact.
Hey, what time did this happen? We will be right there.
At TVC News, we follow the big and major news, gathering the facts, witnessing the outcome.
I am here live at the aftermath of the approval of the new national minimum wage.
We are TV station of the year, not just for breaking news, but for being first, fair and accurate. TVC News, first with breaking news.
The National Assembly is a busy place. As the bastion of democracy, it is a place where bills are presented, motions debated, laws made, and the yearnings of the people are laid bare. Come with us as we take you through the workings of the National Assembly. We take you through plenary, committee meetings, and all to ensure smooth working of the democratic process.
Revived and re-engineered, that's the new reality in Nasarawa State under the leadership of Governor Abdullahi Sule, who is repositioning the state for greatness and empowering.
All right, still on watching TVC Breakfast at this point. Daridu Fowokon joined us quite shortly. Thank you very much for joining us at this point. The traffic
That's Lagos.
All right, so we're looking at two newspapers this morning. First of all, the Punch talking about insecurity, and the Daily Trust talking about business owners groaning under the economic crisis at this point. But let's, if he has had, I say a lot. He said a lot about insecurity. Let's have your say. Retired generals, NEF, others warn against hiring mercenaries. I suspected he would start like that.
When I read about the possibility of having to borrow fighters, the first question that came to my mind is, where are we going to borrow from? It better be the United States or the United Kingdom. I hope it won't be from any of our neighboring countries. Because by the moment we do that, maybe say borrow fighters from Mali or from Libya, we would have further told the world that we are a country of incapable people.
But this army have gone on peacekeeping missions.
And they've done brilliantly well. So then we should ask ourselves the question. It is then not about the army. Perhaps it is about those who should provide for the army to fight as appropriate. Or it is about those who will draw the policies and plans with which the army will prosecute this war. It is obviously not about the fighting men. You cannot, if they are going on peace meeting, maybe United Nations peacekeeping force, the United Nations provide arms for them.
Yeah.
If it is ECOWAS peace mission, ECOWAS provides arms for them. This is a Nigerian warfare. They are in northeastern Nigeria to fight as the Nigerian army. The Nigerian nation should equip them. And you know, for years, we've had to debate this issue of how equipped actually is our army. And I've had retired generals, I've had retired DSS directors and the likes telling us our army is ill-equipped. And if it has taken us almost 10 years to equip the army to fight an internal war, God forbid we are attacked externally, where would we be? So if we are now on the brink of considering getting mercenaries to fight for us, it simply shows that we have lost this war. And when you lose a war in this manner, what is expected of you is to go back to the drawing board and look at what should be done. And if you ask me, I'll tell you, let's do away with the service ships first. Either rightly or wrongly. Let's just try new hands. Even in the corporate world, when things go wrong, solutions are preferred and it is not working, things are just working the way they should. They say, okay, let's have a change of the board. I've seen that happen severally in the banking industry. They say, okay, change the board. And they bring in new persons. Why is it difficult for us to apply this same? This is warfare. Lives are being lost on a daily basis. Let's change the security team. We are not saying, I am not one of those who is insisting that they have failed. Okay, I am saying they have not failed.
They've done well.
They've done well. But we just want to have new approach, new style, new strategies to fight this same war that have lasted for so long under their watch. And if you must also look at it critically, many of our service ships today have stayed beyond the time they should have stayed.
Okay.
Most of them are above retirement age. If it is just on that premise that let's give other people the opportunity to tell us what we may have to do, I'm advising that, okay, let them go home, bring new hands, let's have new strategies and approaches to this war, and let's see if things will remain the same or things will change.
All right, so let's talk about this story in the Daily Trust. Business owners groan over Naira crash, buying dollar above 450 Naira not sustainable, said importers. CBN blames bribe givers for forex hike, monitor BDCs to tame racketeering, according to experts.
Yeah, well, one of the promises this administration made to us way back in 2014, I remember very well, was that they were going to ensure that the Naira never get to this level.
Yeah.
I'm particularly unhappy that it's been difficult fulfilling that promise. I would say some 2-3 years ago, I gave a lot of kudos to the current administration with the way they handled the issue of BDC. And at that time, it appeared it was yielding results. So something obviously has gone wrong. And as a layman who is a journalist, and we know something about everything and everything about something, I want to say that the thing I observed is that the BDCs are back to business as usual. If we spend so much time and energy and resources curtailing their excesses, how come they are back to how they used to be? If you ask me, we are in this trouble because they are back to business as usual, and worse than ever before, even because they can now get these dollars from the banking sector without being checked, and then they push the price up because they want to make profit. And then the restrictions that were introduced by this administration seems to have collapsed. So and if we spend so much time and energy fighting this same thing, why are we here?
So all of this contributes to the
but it is obvious that
entrepreneurs are not happy. Everyone is suffering.
Who will be happy? Who will be happy when you can? To produce locally is times 10 importing the same thing. And then don't also forget that we are forcing people to produce and consume locally. The borders are shut.
Okay.
So it is just the result of our inability to sustain policies. Now that's my fear. The borders have been shut for months. We are about to open it. Aren't we going to witness the same thing? We won't be able, are we going to be able to sustain the gains in such a manner that we will not end up suffering for it again? These are my worries, and it should be everybody's worries.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for talking to us on these issues now. Thank you very much for talking to us.